The film opens as a space shuttle from the Life Foundation crash lands in Point Me in East Malaysia. Medics arrive on the scene and recover one survivor, astronaut J.J. Jameson. Chris O'Hara. Jameson is brought into an ambulance where something that has latched onto him has come alive and attacks those inside what is the vehicle, causing it to flip and crash. An EMT, Michelle Lee, steps out of the wreckage, now playing host to the alien entity known as the symbiote. In San Francisco, we are introduced to reporter Eddie Brockton, Tom Hardy, who lives with his fiancée, a lawyer named Anne Wang. Michelle Williams, who is set to John Tiho represent the Life Foundation and its CEO, Carlton Drake. Riz Ahmed. Eddie is well known for his TV news show, The Eddie Brock Report, where he undergoes investigative stories to share with others. When he gets to work, Eddie's boss, Ron Cephas Jones, sends him to interview Drake, but he asks Eddie to not press Drake with any questions about his work. Anne asks the same since she knows Eddie can be hot-headed, which is what got him driven out of New York. Eddie finds an email on Anne's computer with information regarding 3 confirmed deaths resulting from the shuttle crash. Against his orders, Eddie goes to interview Drake about his space travel program, but then goes off script and starts to ask Drake about the deaths and how he is responsible for them. Drake cuts the interview short and Eddie's boss fires him. Anne also gets fired, and she breaks up with Eddie. Back in Malaysia, the EMT wanders into a local market and starts to eat an eel. The vendor chastises her for it, so the symbiote forms a blade around her arm, and she slits the highest vendor's throat. Nearby onlookers try to attack her in retribution, but the symbiote releases quills that kills everyone around her. The EMT then walks to an elderly woman, Vicky Ng. The symbiote releases the EMT, who is now dead, and latches onto the old woman. 6 months later, Drake is continuing his research into symbiotes by having tests run on homeless people. He speaks to one subject named Isaac, Jared Benkins, to make it seem like he is taking on some kind of groundbreaking task for mankind. Drake releases a symbiote into the room without Isaac and lets the entity overtake his body. He seems fine for a while until he convulsing, and the symbiote leaves Isaac's now dead body, having devoured his organs. In San Francisco, Eddie is now jobless and alone, living in a small seedy apartment. He goes to a nearby shop where he is acquainted with the clerk, Mrs. Chen, Peggy Lou. Eddie sees that she is constantly getting robbed of her money by a thing, Sam Medina, and he is unable to do anything about it. Eddie is then approached by Dr. Dara Skirth, Jenny Slate, a scientist from the Life Foundation who is appalled by Drake's experiments on humans. She wants Eddie's helpful in exposing Drake, but he refuses to go along because he doesn't care about what happens to mankind anymore. Eddie and Venom head off to find Drake and Riot before they board the rocket. The 2 men fight using their symbiote forms, while Anne turns on a frequency to disrupt both of them and make the symbiotes leave their hosts. Drake sees Riot and tries to reattach himself, but Eddie kicks him off the ledge. Eddie turns around and is impaled by Riot, who then boards the rocket as it starts to lift off. Venom finds Eddie and latches back onto him, healing the impalement. They then leap onto the rocket as Venom cuts open the fuel line, causing the rocket to explode and incinerate Drake and Riot. The flames from the rocket also cause Venom to seemingly die as Eddie falls into the water. That Venom is still inside Eddie, though he keeps that a secret from Anne. Eddie walks away and bumps into an old man, Stan Lee, who encourages him to not stop fighting for what he loves. Venom also wants to eat the man's dog. Eddie walks around with Venom and tries to explain to him that if they are going to stick together, that he cannot just eat any person he wants, and that they may only target the really bad people. He goes into Mrs. Chen's shop. Mid-credits, Eddie goes to San Quentin prison for an interview with his newest subject, a serial killer by the name of Cletus Cassidy, Woody Harrelson. Cassidy vows that once he is released, there will be Carnage. Post-credits, an extended clip of the upcoming animated film Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse is shown, wherein Miles Morales, voice of Shameik Moore, is being chased by the Prowler. After evading the villain, Miles goes to the grave of Peter Parker/Spider-Man, voice of Jake Johnson. Not long after, Peter, inexplicably very much alive, appears behind Miles, but Miles accidentally zaps Peter and knocks him out.